It's a new year. It's a new 12 frames per second. My name's Kraken, and we're playing one. God, I almost knocked over my blueberries. We're going to be playing one Gull at a time.
One Gull for that. To all the listeners, I made that pun, and no, I do not regret it. And yes, I am very proud.
It's a good pun. Don't ever not be proud.
And yeah, we're going to be playing one call at a time. Should we introduce ourselves?
Mm-hmm. So, top of the extremely long order, that would be me. I'm Kraken. I'm playing Admiral Abbigull.
Hello. Well, you heard me talk, but I'm Vamp, and surprisingly enough, I will not be playing the He Who Magic Man today. I am, however, playing someone.
Just someone. Yeah, it occurs me. I think this is the first game it's not He Who Magic Man.
It is. I have never not played He Who Magic Man, and let's see how well I do.
It's gonna be great. And with that, we're gonna kick off with some opening narration. Woohoo, woohoo.
Ooh.
We open this game overlooking a bay and at a particular cargo ship anchored in there, the Salty Squabble. And this is a ship captained by one Admiral Abbigull. She's here for business. The ship's here for business. A good captain keeps their ear to the ground for the general vibe of their crew. What Abbigull's been noticing lately is it's sort of unrest, a weirdness. The crew seem kind of uneasy, but this happens sometimes. It doesn't seem to be affecting anything, and she's got business doing. She would have basically ignored that if it hadn't been for last night, because Bildrat came knocking on her door at like 3 a.m. saying, well, it wasn't quite a problem. There was a something in the water. And you know what? She got up and she had to look. She didn't see anything. Rolled. Whatever perception she rolled, it wasn't enough or whatever. But considering it was this particular crewmate that came and got her, she's actually going to take this seriously now because Bildrat hates bothering his officers. He absolutely will not do it until it's an actual emergency or he's seriously wigged out. So this is how we find Abbigull tonight, standing the night watch. Just keeping an eye out for whatever is out there that's making her crew uneasy.
And it is a very lovely night, honestly. The clouds are surprisingly absent, so all the stars are out, and you can see ribbons of starlight just streaking across the sky. You can clearly see the Milky Way. And the moon shining down on the waters. With how dark it is, because it is like late night. Even the ocean itself seems to be still, like dark blue and green, just glimmering under pale yellow light. And it's peaceful. It's really peaceful. You hear nothing but the lapping of the waves.
It's a good night to stand watch.
It is a good night. And as you're sitting and just watching tonight, I'm gonna roll something for a second and let's see how this goes. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Abbigull, I mean, you can make a contrasting perception if you'd like.
She does have pretty good perception, but I don't know.
I don't know. You can try. I did not expect to roll that high.
I mean, this is a +6 she has on perception. We'll see how this.
Not quite. And everything seems fine. Like you didn't know what you were expecting probably when you decided to keep watch for the night, but it genuinely just seems like everything's fine. Like it's just the ocean and the sky and the ship like just bobbing along, and you don't see anything amiss. But as you look, you notice you really don't see anything amiss. Like with how dark the waters are and how like how dark and with how dark the waters are, like you wouldn't be able to see anything even if there is anything in the water.
Well, and with that, Abbigull is going to take note of the time and think, it's time to do the walk around ship check. She's going to get up and start just working her way back to front, checking lines, checking how things are stowed, checking the anchor. This is what she's currently doing.
And I'm just gonna I'm just gonna roll 10. Okay, alright. So as you are making the rounds on the ship, you hear and it's easy to miss, but you've been sailing for a while, ma'am, and you know these seas like the back of your hand. It's easy to miss, but you could swear that you hear quiet splashing. And it sounds it's not loud, but from what you're hearing, you're pretty sure that it's not the right volume, or it's not the right amount of water for just a fish.
Well, Abigail's going to go investigate that, but half her thoughts are on, it's the cryptid the crew are worried about, and half on, it's probably just a really big fish, and I'm going to catch it, and they're all going to look like idiots.
Roll perception.
Perception again, or investigation?
You can do either. Either works.
I mean, her perception is far better. Yeah, her investigation 0. So
makes sense that she has such good perception, honestly. Oh, another 17.
Exact same.
Oh, exact same as well. Alright.
This person's broken.
So you head over to the direction of the noise, and you see a flash of white disappear underwater, and that's definitely not a fish. You didn't get to take a good look, but you are pretty sure that most fish A have scales, which this very much did not. B do not wear clothes, and C do not have a full head of hair. And D, you're pretty sure that most fish don't look like children.
Oh dear. That's a child, that's a whole child.
That is a whole child. It did say child immediately went underwater the second you approached, but you saw that was a child.
That water had a child. Okay, Abigail's first instinct is to grab the nearest sort of man overboard equipment. She's going to take one of those kiss rings and toss him out, because she sees a person more and she's immediately man overboard.
Oh, is she going to toss one of those life preservers over?
Yep.
And when she tosses it over, it just floats on the water for a bit, and then you see the water near the life preserver kind of ripple a little, and then a white hand emerges from the water and kind of gives it a good poke. It's not even grabbing the life preserver, it's just poking at it curiously.
I think with this, Abigail's going to realize this person isn't drowning. She's going to start, this is like fishing. She's going to start slowly pulling the rope that the preserver is attached to back towards the ship to see if she can get this kid closer and get a look, because that's still a child. Abigail's concerned.
And luckily for you, this particular child is actually, for all that I did roll multiple stop rolls, they actually don't really mind being seen. So the white hand disappears underwater when you start pulling at it again. But then you can definitely see the faded white outline of a child swimming below the surface and pulling the life preserver. And as you pull the life preserver like to you and probably pull it up onto the ship, I assume.
Yeah.
As you do that, your fishing efforts have paid off because you get a good look at this supposed cryptid that your crew has been terrified of this entire the entire last few nights. And you're right, it's a child. And let me just send a picture of the child. Congratulations, Admiral Abbigull. You have found a strange Giblian child who is now staring at you from in the water.
You all right down there, kiddo?
The child doesn't speak, but... And I need to preface this to everyone here. Umi is selectively mute, so they won't be speaking. They will be signing. Everything that I have Umi say in this FPS will be signed. And if you do not understand sign, then they're literally just then perish, I suppose. But yes, Umi does not answer verbally, but you see that their hands like go out of the water and they sign, "I'm fine."
Well, good news for Umi. Abbigull does know sign. So Abbigull just responds in kind. Just go, well, you're fine, all right? What's your name, little one? And she is going to want to roll insight. She's not convinced this kid is fine.
All right, go roll insight. 17. All right. As you're looking at this kid, and as they respond to your question by finger spelling out their name, you realize something else that's odd about them besides the fact that they're in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, in the depths. They have no supervision. There's just a whole ass kid swimming here. But when you look past like your instinctive and honestly very well founded worry about this random ass sassy lost kid, you realize that they don't actually look out of place in the ocean. It's hard to describe, but you just have a feeling like this is where they're supposed to be. It's if it weren't for your own opinions, or like the fact that you think a kid shouldn't be out here, you might have like it would be really easy to believe that they should be out here, like that they don't feel out of place in the water. They feel like they should. It feels about as natural as seeing a fish or a shark or a dolphin or whatever in the ocean. They don't feel out of place. And also, quite strangely, even though they've poked their head above water, their hair is still floating as if they're still underwater.
Those damn Ghibli jeans. With Abigail can vibe with that insight. Like, there's the initial grandma instincts, but being able to see that someone just belongs where they are, is comfy where they are, you know what, she gets that. It's probably the vibe she gives off, just being on the water and sailing for as long as she has. She's been doing this her whole life.
Exactly. Like, they're comfortable where they are. Like, they don't seem like they need rescuing. They aren't drowning. They're just chilling. And they're looking at you after having given you their name, which is Umi, and they're looking at you kind of expectantly, as if they're expecting for you to continue the conversation.
And yeah, Abigail lifts up her hand, wing hands, that manifest thumbs when she needs them, such as this case, for example, to potentially make signing easier. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Umi. I'm the captain of the ship. My name's Admiral Abbigull. I don't suppose you have been purposely scaring my crew, have you?
Umi signs back, and their response basically boils down to, "It wasn't my intention, but if your crew is scared that easily, they have no business being out here."
Extremely correct. Valid opinion.
And Umi's just like, they're still floating there, but like they have started signing again, and it's a little fast, but it's basically they're just saying that your crew, that there are scarier things down in the water, and it might do Abbigull's crew some good to get brave / get good or get out.
Get good, says the 14-year-old. Well, I think Abbigull's next thing, because Grandma instincts, but on a different turn now. Hey kid, you hungry? I could use a snack myself.
They blink up at her, and they say that they've already eaten dinner, but they wouldn't be opposed to having a little snack.
Mm-hmm. Me, myself, and I think I'm gonna go get an orange, I think, from the galley. Is there anything you'd like as a snack?
And they tilt their head a little, and they think, and then they just give a shrug. The universal language for do whatever. I don't have much of an opinion either way.
Well, with that, I think Abbigull's just gonna nod. She toddles off, waddles off as a seagull does, gone for a minute, comes back, and yep, sure enough, tosses an orange towards Umi.
And I'm gonna roll dexterity, because this is a D&D game. You need to roll. Let's see, dexterity. You toss the orange, and well, maybe it's dark. Maybe it's just you tossed it too hard. Maybe it's just they misjudged like your throw. Whatever it is, the orange sails over their head and just over their outstretched hand and falls with a plop on the ocean, into the ocean. And they stare at the spot that it disappeared into before disappearing out of view underwater.
Listen, Abbigull's dexterity, it's complete crap. This was almost definitely probably Abby's fault.
Thankfully, like after a few moments, they reappear holding the now wet orange. Thank goodness for the peel. And they're looking at it, and kind of like turning it over and over in their hand, and you get the impression that they have not seen an orange before.
Okay, well, Abby's been like standing on the rail of the ship this entire time to chat with Umi, and at this point she goes, don't worry, kid, it's easy. Here, oranges are real good for dealing with scurvy. Both your die, you're probably not too worried about that, but here, look. You take your finger and you poke a hole in and you take off the peel. If you're picky, you can take off the whites too, but I don't really give a care about that. And in demonstration, she is going to peel her own orange, and because this is D&D and we roll, let's see if she makes a good demonstration.
Oh my god. Roll performance, I guess, because you are demonstrating to someone.
Performance is a good idea. I was going to be mean and make her do Dex.
Oh, that's mean.
Listen, her Dex stat just cracks me up.
Holy shit!
Abby is an expert orange peeler. It almost all comes off as one piece.
And I'm going to have Umi attempt to follow that. I wonder what that would be. Like trying to follow
imitating a performance.
Trying to follow in a performance. Intelligence?
Maybe.
All right.
You want to be hilarious.
It's so. They do peel the orange, but if any of you have ever peeled fruit before and are not good at it, like I am, like some of the flesh comes away with the skin, and there are parts where the skin is still sticking into the flesh, and they look at the orange, the poorly peeled orange, and that's probably kind of like still dripping with salt water, let's be honest.
Hey, it's a good first attempt, kid. But if you want, did you want to trade?
And Umi nuts, and he immediately throws the orange at Admiral Abbigull.
And she's gonna attempt to catch. What did you roll a catch? A Dex? Yeah.
Oh, you're being mean to her.
Listen.
I'm listening. Oh!
Yes. Once again, this poor orange is just getting thrown around. It goes over Abby's shoulder and like hits the mast and like sadly splaps to deck.
Poor orange, like, listen, the poor orange has drowned in the ocean and now has been like thrown full force onto the ship. Like, it can't survive that.
It's more pulp than orange at this point.
Yep. And Uni does not react to that. They're still looking at Abby like expectantly with one hand outstretched, like, where is the orange that they've been talking?
Well, Abby, it's a bit of a reach. Abby doesn't want to throw this orange again. Listen, this is a like perfectly peeled orange. They're preserving this. So she's actually going to take flight and hover a bit so that she can just sort of directly, either put it directly in Umi's hand or just like have it be a short drop, whichever Umi looks like they're comfortable with.
And Umi actually, when Abby like flies off and hovers a bit above the sea, Umi actually blinks a little, and you see them sign like, "You can fly."
Yeah, sure can. I got these nifty wings. Okay, I'm not the best flyer, and she's dropping off the orange as she says this. Not the most graceful one. Used to be better in my more youth, but not by much. I've always been a water bird, if you know what I mean.
And they and Umi nods sagely as they pop the entire orange into their mouth. And go and like they sign like, the ocean is better than the air anyway. I think you have taste.
Thank you. And with this, Abbigull's going to land back on the ship, and she is going to like scoop this pulpy saltwater sodden orange into her hand. And she is gamely just going to put this in her mouth and attempt to eat it.
Oh my god. As she's doing that, actually, like, as she's doing that, you actually hear kind of splashing noises, and hey, Kraken, like, do you think there's anywhere for Umi to climb up if they want to?
Speaking from experience, it's tough, but if you're determined, absolutely.
All right, let's see how well you do. What would you like?
I would put that as a strength. It is some upper body strength. I won't make you do finger grip. Finger grip is the other important part of climbing up hulls.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna shit. The screen blacked out. Hold on a second.
Oh no!
A second, let me just to my phone, turn on my laptop again. Oh god, this is gonna make FPS such a chore. Back here. Hello?
Yeah, you good?
Right, I'm good. Strength? Can't we do anything else?
Acrobatics, athletics.
Oh god. Alright, everyone, you're about to see something fun. Understandably so, but fun. Would I be able to argue advantage? Because well, let's just say that even though they're more used to smaller ships and boats, they likely have like gone and boarded a few before.
Yeah, you know what? We'll say that.
Alright, because their modifier.
Hey,
Oh, that's actually
that's
really good.
pretty good for a first go.
Alright, I'm thinking that's 16.
All right, yeah, Umi, you scramble up. You do a far better job than I've seen a lot of people do it.
Well, yeah, they do have a Fisher background on like their D&D sheet, but when Abby turns, like Umi is like on like sitting like not sitting on the railings proper. It's more like they're leaning on the railings from like the side that's facing out into the ocean, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like balancing on the poles of their feet on the very edge of the ocean, and if you give them like a little push, they're probably gonna fall into the water again.
Yeah, Abbigull tisks. Cheeky, you are supposed to ask permission from the captain before stepping aboard, but at the same time, you ain't quite stepped aboard yet. Cheeky. And she is going to pop this orange in her mouth, and she's going to roll Constitution.
Oh my god. I mean, it's orange. It sure is an orange. Salty
It's,
and like, foggy and pulpy, but you eat it.
there is a face. She chews, she swallows. There is a face going on. This is a lot of salt water. But the orange is eaten, and it wasn't like spat out. So, you know, take your successes where you can get them. She said she'd trade the orange. She has traded the orange with all that entails.
Umi pops a nut, Umi goes to pop another orange slice into their mouth, and then they remembered that they ate like the entire thing whole, and was like, no, I can't do that. And so instead, they just like look at Abigail, and then they sign permission to board.
Permission granted is signed back.
And they don't move, like they still stay there, but now they have permission. And they're actually going to look over to like where the I assume where the crew bunks, and look at Abigail, and they're going to ask why Abby is like the one doing the night watch tonight.
Well, I'm doing it tonight because I volunteered, actually. Normally as captain, you do a variant. You don't do the whole standing up thing. You get up every few hours to check in on the people, but because everyone is being wusses this fine week, you know, I do it myself. I don't make my crew do anything I wouldn't do myself.
And the response is, are you going to make your crew continue doing night watch now that you've done it?
Well, yeah, certainly. It's part of what I pay them for. But, you know, multiple reasons. I haven't done one in a while. It's a lovely night. I'm getting to chat with you, and it gives them a break. It was supposed to be Hauser tonight, yeah. But hey, he's getting a full night's sleep. He should appreciate it. Just means he gets it tomorrow.
And the next sign is, are you going to tell them about me?
Depends what you want, I suppose.
And they give another shrug, like, they don't really care, like, and actually, Abigail, like, why have they been following your ship around now that you think about it? Because it's not like this is the very first night they appeared. Your crew have been gossiping about this weird cryptid in the water for a while now.
It is a very good question. They have been in one place for the last 2 days, being anchored here. So, in lead up to that, Abbigull's just going to ask, so is this bay your home? Home base? Are we visitors on your front lawn?
And they sign, in a sense, it's not. It's. I'm trying. This is not Umi like stuttering over the words. This is me. I'm talking as Umi is hard. But they sign, in a sense, the ocean's my home.
Well, I can understand that. Definitely understand that one.
And they nod and they sign, you're one of the best sailors I've seen.
Oh, Abbigull just like is immediately chuffed up. Flattery will work. Like her feathers sort of puff out in French. She's just like, oh, so you've been around a while. You noticed, did you?
Well, yes, you're the sea. You're talking as Umi is so hard. He has like a specific kind of way to talk, and it's difficult.
You're doing great.
The sea sees you as its own.
Oh, and roll insight for that statement, please.
Oh shit! No, that's not insight.
Sorry. Oh, that's not quite a nat one.
Sorry, that wasn't the right roll. Their insight is actually. I keep forgetting that I'm not playing He Who Magic Man.
Somewhere, He Who Magic Man is like, huh.
Somewhere,
He Who
Magic Man is like, I'm suddenly feeling very attacked right now.
But with an 11, Umi, yeah, Abbigull had been like quite pleased with probably not intended as flattery, but was flattered. And with the statement, the ocean sees you as one of its own. That's like the grin shrinks a little, but not in a bad way. It's just like it becomes softer. Just like a softer smile. She's just like, yeah, I think it's been that way near since I was born, actually.
And they sign, at least you have like the intelligence to live out where it's like, to live out at sea. And you have the kind of impression that they aren't very impressed with like most people on land.
Landlubbers, don't get them, but gotta love them anyway, right? Well, I do anyway. Got a whole bunch of them in the family. I'm obligated to love them.
And they shrug, and you can roll insight again. 16, huh? With a 16, yeah, they don't really. They're unimpressed with people on land. Basically, like from what they've seen, unimpressed. Like no one seems to know like what's really important. No one really seems to know how to live their lives. But again, like it's not. It feels like there are a few exceptions to this because they do not when you said that you're obligated to love some people, they do nod at that.
Yeah.
And they look again at the direction the crew is probably sleeping in, and they ask if the crew are some of those people.
I wouldn't quite call many or any of them landlubbers. They are on this career, even if it's perhaps a temporary stopgap for them. But yeah, Yeah, there's crew I love down there.
And they raise an eyebrow and point out that like her entire crew was terrified of them even when they never saw them, and all Umi did was swim around the ship.
Well, I think maybe the other thing to understand about some people is some people are quite superstitious, and when some people get worked up, more people get worked up, and it's maybe even less they genuinely think it's scary. It's probably more just a way to alleviate boredom would be my measure.
And they honestly, like, you can get the impression that they don't have a very high opinion of Abigail's crew. And they ask Abbigull, like, they ask Abbigull how long her crew has been like sailing, because like Abbigull's very clearly like she is very clearly adjusted to this. She knows what she's doing. She knows like she fits in this. She's not out of place out here. She has her sea legs, but the rest of them are.
Well, depends. Depends. We got all sorts of ages and experiences. I mean, some are very new at this. Some, this is their first gig. Others have been around a while. Others have been sailing, but not on my ship. Others, my ship is their only experience. Others, quite young, but this is all they've done. So, wide range. Depends on the person, I think.
Are you trying to teach them to become proper sailors?
When I can. When I can. It's a full gig running the ship, and well, wasn't always the way. I deal in cargo right now, so it's a bit less. What a thing to realize. It's a bit less the fun of it nowadays and more the business.
And Umi, well, I can't say make a face because their face doesn't change. Their face doesn't change, but you kind of get the impression that they would be making a face at the word business. And they sign at Abbigull and ask if that's all sailing is to her now. Business?
Not always. You know, began sailing for love, but of course that's when I started being me, I guess, being a cleric. And out of that, the way I found to continue sailing full time was to get the jobs in it. And things spiral from there, and what do you know, like 30 some years down the line, here I am. So I don't personally see why I can't combine the two, business and pleasure. Get the most of both worlds out of it.
And Umi still doesn't look like they really understand, because roll inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's rolling so well inside. Okay, fine. Like with a 21, like you can clearly see that they don't fully get it, and you have the impression that it's because like this is like they cannot think of like being anywhere else. Like this is a way of life for them. Like being out at sea, you're struck once again at the feeling that they aren't out of place. Like here in the ocean, like it feels like they have just as much right to be here as any other like sea creature down there. And it's kind of understandable that when you mention sailing for business, they were momentarily like kind of annoyed and disgusted, because to them like it's simple to them. If you really like the sea, and if you really want to be out there, then be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like to a point they're right. Like to a point they're right. They do have like +4 wisdom.
Just two people with high wisdom sitting having a chat.
Yep, arguing philosophies.
What else are you going to do at 3 a.m.?
And they eventually though they just kind of like look at Abbigull and sign as well. You're still smarter than most other sailors on these waters.
You know what? You're entirely correct. I sure am.
And they look at Abbigull again and Can I try? Hey, can if Umi rolled like if Umi tried to like figure something out about Abbigull like inside like can I roll that?
Yeah.
It's not one. It's not a one. God damn it! I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting that Umi actually has really good insight. 44. Holy shit!
What the?
Hey, come on!
46?
Fine. All right. They figured nothing out. Like they were trying to figure out like if Abbigull was like them, but they can't fully tell because you're also like clearly like you're not out of place like on the ship or in the ocean like the rest of your crew, so they can't properly tell like if you're like them or if you just happen to be a really experienced sailor.
Yeah, well.
And they're gonna ask.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna ask if like she's like them.
That is a very vague statement. Abbigull kind of kens as to what exactly is being asked there.
You could roll history.
Another history. Something new. What is Abbigull's history? Nada.
Okay, to everyone listening, I hope you guys aren't too bored just listening to this two like talk.
Flub their roles. God.
Yep, you remember nothing. You have no idea what this kid is talking about. Actually, you know what? Do it on advantage. You have been like you are like a very like you have been sailing for a while now. Do it on advantage.
Dice parser, please.
Dice parser, please. I'll give it to you with a 13. It's kind of a legend. Maybe not even a legend. It's like the whispers of one. But you have heard about people being so close to the sea and the sea being such huge parts of their lives and like such huge parts of their identities and making them what they are to the point that like it's like they made a pact with the sea itself. People who can breathe underwater and swim underwater and see underwater, and that might be what Umi's saying. I mean, you notice that for the entire time that they've been following your ship around, they hadn't really needed to like surface for air or anything. And again, they don't look out of place here at all.
And having thunk that thought, having worked that through her little bird brain, Abbigull just grins wide. Maybe not the exact same kiddo, but I think, what would be the word? Kindred spirit. And she doesn't quite cast fog cloud, but it's like her outline and her colors shiver and gray out slightly.
And wait, you first.
Yeah. Packed with the ocean itself, not directly, I don't think, but with the erasure in my life, erasure has manifested as the ocean.
Can I roll history to try and figure out what the hell the eraser is?
Yeah.
I can't believe that this literally. I can't believe we're getting Abbigull lore. I can't believe this. I mustn't fuck this up. Please roll high. God damn it!
Okay, so I guess does Umi know much at all about like sort of the general the pillars of Inkwell, like the creative forces driving the whole damn place? Erasure is one of them.
They might. The thing is, like with Umi, like their knowledge is like very, very strange and selective. Basically, they have a very strong like intelligence compass, but you have no idea where it's pointing. So like I'd wager they know of the erasure, but whether or not like they know of the details like fully depends on whether or not like the erasure is like something relevant to what they're interested in, aka the sea, aka nature.
That's fair. And besides that, information on erasure isn't exactly easy to come by, like on land for people looking anyway. The reputation isn't always stellar amongst the people. Besides that, something about the erasure, it tends to erase information about itself. It's a bit esoteric that way.
So they have like only the vaguest idea of what Abbigull means, but like they nod understandingly and sign. Are they the reason why you decided to become a sailor?
I think I didn't. The reason why I stayed becoming a sailor, I would wager, yes. Because quite a lot of the spells I do, the magic I have, it's all on the water. It's where I get my strength from.
And they tilt their head a little and go, would you have stayed a sailor if it weren't for them?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Quite frankly, by all logic, meeting my clerical patron should have chased me away from the water, considering the first meeting. So, who knows? I lived on the coast. Maybe I would have.
And they accept this. They don't ask anything more. And it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't really matter anyway, because like Abbigull is very clearly like a sailor now and a sailor to stay. Instead they sign. How long are you going to be at port?
Well, it depends on how the negotiations go, don't it? Already been at it a while. I would wager 2 days, 3 days if we play nice, 2 days if it gets nasty.
And again, they look sympathetic. Like the idea of being at port for that long is, and they ask you exactly what it is that you're negotiating here.
Ha 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 ha! Time to make things up. Delightful.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. This is great. It's like, well, I don't know if it quite interests you. This is on the business side of things. What I do is I transfer things. I take cargo from one place and I get it to another. And there are ways to do that over land. There's trains and cars and, adventure parties doing it for people and stuff. But sometimes sea is the fastest way. Sometimes sea is the best way. So I'm just trying to secure a shipment, and people aren't being very good about the payment bit of it. But that's all business captain stuff. I won't worry you none with it. I don't worry the crew none about it. That's me and my business.
Umi signs very deliberately and with purpose. That's stupid.
You're not wrong, kid.
And they sign, why do people on land make things harder for themselves all the time?
I think a lot of the time they might not know another way.
And they nod, and they continue with, you're smarter than all of them put together. I'm sure you will be able to get it done one way or another.
Oh, it's getting done, and I had advantage over some people just by being, old as peck.
And again, they nod, and like, Umi's just accepting all this. They're just listening to like Abbigull talk, and just quietly listening, and they like her. Well, she's nice. She's certainly more friendly and like smarter and wiser than most people they've met. And again, she had the sense to like live out at sea. Again, that. And they sign. Can't your crew help?
It depends on. I'll be calling on their help at one point or another. But that is what they are here for.
To help you?
Yeah, to help me. Now I'm a good sailor, but a ship this size and she like spreads her wings and like turns around. This is probably like, it's a sizable ship. There's 2 masts. She cannot sail this by herself.
And
there needs to be a crew.
And Umi signs that's why swimming like directly in the sea is always better than having ships.
Well, I'm sure it is. Kid, you want to know a secret?
And at the word secret, they kind of straighten a little and nod.
I am a terrible swimmer.
And they actually deflate a little at that. And you said you were a water bird.
Now listen. I can swim. I won't drown. I mean, nearly done that a few times, so that wasn't on swimming ability. Just not very fast. It's a little bit similar to the flying. Abbigull's just not a graceful person.
And they look at Abbigull, and quite kind of abruptly, they slide off like where they were, like standing on the part of the railing that was facing out at sea, and they kind of slide off and they plop back into the water. And if Abbigull were like to look over, they would see like Umi's head like above water and looking up at her and like looking at her expectantly.
Oh, expectantly? You want me to get in?
And they nod.
Not that I'm hesitating on the offer, kid, but I am on the night watch.
And they sign
your crew
your crew can handle themselves for a bit.
You know what? You're entirely correct, but give me 2 minutes. Abbigull's going to toddle off, and she's just going to go below and just like, we're going for the wake up bucket.
I'm just imagining she's just like kicking the door open, like, Bilgaret, holy peck!
Yeah, pretty much. She does exactly that. The problem is it wakes up like everyone else in the same cabin. Bilgaret, holy peck! Kicks the door down, like 5 other people all shoot out of bed. And she's like, the rest of you stand down. You're fine. Bilgaret, you're on watch. He's like, wait, what? Wait, aren't you on? What? And he's already scrambling out of bed. She's like, don't worry about it.
I can't believe Umi is kidnapping their captain.
Is it kidnapping if she's going willingly and they never saw her again?
But
Yeah.
when you return, Umi's still like patiently waiting. But you actually notice that you've actually noticed that they're holding something in their hands. It's a really pretty pink and orange-ish cream like conch shell, a big one. Like
Ooh.
it's the kind that you usually like the kind that you usually see fake versions of sold in shops. But this is like actually real, and they're blowing into it, and like it sounds basically like, I don't know if any of you have ever listened to people playing conch shells, but that's what it sounds like.
Wonderful. Abbigull's she gets back on deck by flying. Bildrat's running after, just like tugging his shirt, and he's going like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Why is it 4 a.m.? What's the emergency? And she's just like, you're on night watch. You're in charge. If I don't come back, Hawser's captain and you're first mate. Good luck. And she dives directly into the water.
And as you dive directly underwater, like Umi slips underwater as well, so I don't think Bilgerat would actually see them.
So
like Bilgerat knows, his captain who's not that good at swimming has just dove into the water at like midnight when the waters are pitch black.
Yep, so he's just here now. That's fine. But who cares about him? This is Abbigull and Umi FPS. What's going on? What's going on under the water?
Like, you know when you dive underwater and there's that rush of bubbles, and then like everything like kind of like adjusts as your vision like shifts, and like everything adjusts, and then like you can see, and like you're underwater and the bubbles like go off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happens, except the usual hey, I'm underwater, god, I can't breathe, hold my breath time does not happen. And when you're looking towards Umi, they're still like blowing into the conch shell, and you can see kind of like a rush of bubbles like just float out from like the other end, and it's water breathing. They cast water breathing on you.
Nice.
And they're looking at you, and after they cast water breathing, they kind of like tuck the conch shell between their one arm and their chest, and they sign hold on, let me try and get into their mindset again. God, Umi's so hard to play. They sign, can't take you anywhere too deep because it's late and you've never swam underwater before. But anywhere in particular you want to go first?
Abbigull says, you know these waters, take your pick, but I'm also, I think, what would I roll for this? Keep her composure.
Keep her composure, deception.
Deception, maybe, yeah.
Oh, this will be fun.
D20 plus nothing.
Ah!
Okay. Abbigull, because here's exactly what happens. Abbigull dives directly into the water. Water breathing is cast. Abbigull kind of logically feels the magic and knows that magic has been cast and that things are probably fine. Abbigull deals with the problems by jumping right at them, but also the time she has been underwater were not good, and she doesn't succeed in keeping her cool. She's starting to panic.
And Umi's looking at her, and Umi does not get why they're panicking, because again, like, this is like second nature to them. But they just kind of like, here, I'm gonna roll wisdom to see if Umi notices this. It's not gonna be hard considering you rolled on that one. Yep, 18. They notice it, they figure it out, even if they don't really get it themselves. And hey, Kraken, what do you think? What would you say would be the best course of action for Umi to do in the situation?
think the best thing for Umi to do, I think, would be not to take Abbigull deep. Be underwater, but be sort of like snorkeling level. Let there be light. Let it not be deep. Abbigull, now she's in the water and is looking down, and she can't see the bottom. And oh God, is she sinking? Is she sinking?
And Umi just grabs her hand and just casually swims a little further. And like, I wonder if I can actually find a picture of what I'm thinking.
In the meantime, I'll say Abbigull's still kind of visibly freaking out, but being pulled sideways is better than being pulled straight down. So she can still like think and not completely lose her shit.
All right, I am. God, I wish Cranky was here so I can confirm. I know a lot about the sea, but this specific thing is like beyond my knowledge. But as far as I know, do you know that some coral reefs can glow in the dark?
I did not.
This is as far as I know, by the way. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that a few of them do have like bioluminescence or things with bioluminescence that live like near and around them.
I believe it. This is the ocean. Everything's fucked up in there. It's great.
And if there are any, like, definitely Umi's going to take her, even if it's not bioluminescence, Umi's going to take her like wherever there's more light, so it's not as pitch black and dark as like it was when Abbigull first jumped in.
Yeah, and first of all, yeah, Abby's starting to calm down. You know, she's not drowning. It's a good thing. For once, she is in water and she's not drowning. And there's a reef and it's glowing. Like, Abbigull knows of reefs mostly in the sense that if you go too near them, you'll completely wreck your ship and get grounded. But being able to see it underwater and not as a danger to be avoided. Oh, this is so cool. With that gnat, she's fascinated now. With that gnat one, I'll still say she's kind of like rubbing her stump leg. But she's like, whoa.
And as she's doing that, Umi actually blows into the conch shell a second time. And this time, something like what comes out is, yes, another rush of bubbles. Then the rush of bubbles actually they actually form a shape. It forms I have a picture of this. Let me do this really quickly. It forms this. Hey, do you all know what sea dragons are?
Yes.
It forms a toony sea dragon. It forms a toony sea dragon, and Abbigull, if you haven't noticed this sea dragon yet, you're going to notice it now because it immediately swims over into you and goes, hi, hello. Oh, did the young master make a friend? Hello, miss. Hello. Are you?
Abbigull's friend instincts have tripped. She's immediately just like, pet, hello. They're a feedback loop of hello right now.
Hello.
Smashing.
Hello. I am Umi's familiar. Yes, I am Umi's familiar. And you?
Oh, and what a good familiar you are. Oh, look at you.
And they preen, and they are very pretty sea dragon. Yes, I am very good familiar. I know exactly what I do. What are you doing down here? Oh, is the young mister showing you around? Yes. Oh, that's delightful. Have you ever been underwater before? Oh, we have so much to show you. Oh, come, follow us. Come on. And Umi's just standing here, and this is their familiar. this chatterbox, this bombastic personality, he condensed into a small sea dragon familiar, is their familiar. This child who has not even changed their expression a smidge in the few hours you've talked.
Delightful. This familiar is even more of a chatterbox than Abbigull can be. She's just like been reduced. The questions are coming too rapid fire. She's not answering. She's just like scratching this familiar. It's not a dog. There's no ears to scratch behind, but like, just aggressively petting the sea dragon and just like, oh yes.
Yes, and like the sea dragon actually like turns to Umi and like rustles their leaves, their fins / leaves and tail, and they actually go, young mister, oh, she's a good patter, she's a keeper, yes. Could you give me a better form? One that's better suited for petting, because I do want to be petted, It's not fair that you only call me out in the water and I do not get all the pets that I want and desire. And Umi looks neutral, but they do like blow into their conch shell again. And the familiar disappears with a pop, but reappears as a sea crate.
Ooh.
A sea crate. Hold on, let me clear these. If you must. And they're definitely bigger than the sea dragon and presumably like more petable.
Pet.
And
just like lavishing affection, yes.
And Maddie just like wraps around like Abbigull's wing and is just like, yes. Don't I look pretty? Look at my scales.
Oh, just the prettiest little thing.
And again, like Maddie is just like relishing this attention. Like, keep in mind, she's very smart and she's very much like sentient. Like, she is a familiar. She's smarter than most animals. But also, someone's calling her pretty. Abbigull clearly has great taste.
Abbigull has only the best taste.
The best taste. And as Maggie draws Abbigull into conversation and presumably distracts Abbigull from like her panic, Umi just keeps slowly like pulling them forward.
Yeah, panic gone. Abbigull's just delighted.
And we could end the FPS here. It has been an hour.
It has been an hour. So maybe the way to bookend it is it would be a short underwater jaunt because there are things to do in the daytime. So we cut back to Bildrat, who's just, the sun is beginning to just peek underwater. He's just like biting his claws, his nails to the quick. The captain might be fucking dead.
The captain might be fucking dead. Hey, Bildrat, you might be first mate now. How does that feel?
Feels bad, man. I'm only like a year old. I can't be first mate. What the hell? And yeah, he's, as the sunlight comes up, just slowly working himself up more and convinced that Abbigull's peckin' dead. She like threw herself off the ship and committed Sudoku, and she's dead. But then, let's see if he perception. One final roll.
All right, let's.
Oh, fuck! I don't have a sheet up. It's a D20. Whatever.
8. All right.
Okay.
So, as Abbigull like returns, you definitely see, and it makes sense because Umi's not really hiding. Like, you definitely see the child, the whole last child in the water.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my god, that's a child. This just gets weirder and weirder.
And Umi just helps like Abbigull like go back on the ship.
Oh snap! Yeah, Abbigull just like bursts out of the water, great big flap of wings, sopping wet, lands on the deck, and she's just like, "Umi, that was a fine time. Oh, thank you so much. That was Spectacular. Oh, we'll have to chat again.
And Umi nods, and they sign. I'm going back to. I'm going towards Ghibli. But if we ever cross paths again, I hope you've practiced swimming more, Captain.
I'll give it a try. And she just goes, I don't really have super plans of where I'm going next, but hey, Bildrat, aren't you going to Ghibli next? Aren't you? Is that where the Lance with Witty Ghibli is it? And Bildrat's still just kind of like, oh, thank God she's not dead. Oh, thank God she's not dead. And I think that can be a good end right there. Anything else from you?
Nah, I think that's all. Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to two water people talk water for an hour.
Yeah. Thank you. I hope it wasn't too boring, and God fucking hell, Umi is so hard to play. I'm gonna have to practice playing them more.
Well, there we go. Thank you for playing with me, Vamp, and that's it. That's all. I'll end the recording.